Good morning, everybody. We're getting started in just a second. Hey, everybody. Welcome in. We're going to get going, and I probably should start the game, I guess. Are we playing a game today? Is that what's happening? Can everyone hear me? Welcome in. All right, let's figure this out. Let's figure this out. That's not what I want, but it's close enough for bank work. It's my dad's thing to say. Properties. Change that to this. Change. Okay. Almost there. Give me a second. Nice. I'm like transparent. Why am I transparent? Am I supposed to be transparent? I'm not wearing green. Whatever. Hey, everybody. Welcome in. My name's Josh. I'm somewhat transparent today for some reason. I'm not sure why that's happening. Hello. I'm not wearing green, I swear. I'm wearing black. Whatever. I'm gonna pretend it's not happening. Welcome in. Thanks for showing in. And hello, everybody. My name's Josh. This is Gaming Choice Channel, and we are doing office hours today. If you have any questions in the chat, don't hesitate to ask. I love being interrupted. No, I love questions. I love trying to answer and share some of the knowledge that I have. Today, we're going to be doing what's kind of in the background behind me, right there. Wow, it's like a 20-30 second delay. Yeah, so we're gonna take that building on Deadwood and turn it into a mod. And we're gonna talk about how that works and what that means and all that stuff. And hopefully the game's not gonna crash. I think it just did, which is cool. I love when the game crashes. Oh, it didn't crash today. Sweet. So we're in Deadwood. I'm actually in an earlier version of Deadwood, not the live version. Obviously not the one we're editing because this building is black in our version. So whatevs. We're going to talk about something pretty simple, right? I think it's simple. Maybe you guys don't. But sometimes when you play a map, you're like, oh, that production building is really cool. I wish I could have that same production building on my other playthrough that I'm playing on this other map, which is not the same map, right? I've had that thought a lot. Have you ever had that thought? It's actually pretty easy. Let's talk about it and we'll get into all of the ins and outs of making that happen. Right? So what are we going to do? So today I'm going to make something and this is actually a pretty complex thing to do. So it might take a little bit, but that's kind of the idea. So we're going to jump over here to this spot right here on the map. And this is on Deadwood. And this building is a very unique building that Poor Boy has made. And it's very, very loud. I'm sorry about that. Let me turn that down. This is the recycling center. Now I'm picking the recycling center just because it's a random building. I swear to God, there's no other reason. We're just going to figure out how to take this and everything it contains and everything you need for this thing and pull it out into another map, right? So this is the recycling center. What does the recycling center do? Let's look at it in the map before we actually get into the code and all the crazy stuff. So the recycling center will take things that you want to recycle, such as corn. I don't know why you'd want to get a car from corn, but whatever. You're going to take corn and create a junk car. You're going to take slag and create a... These are not... So these are the names here are a little bit off, actually. You're going to take... This one helps... Yeah, so basically you're going to take corn and create junk from corn, from slag, from trash cans, and from garbage containers. Okay? So corn exists in the base game. That's easy. Slag does not exist in the base game, so we're going to have to bring it in. Trash cans exist in the base game. Do not exist in the base game, so we're going to have to bring those in. And garbage containers don't exist in the base game. We're going to have to bring them in. And then the output stuff, we have a dozer. We have a junk car. We have a junk loader. We have a junk tank. We have waste oil. And we have a junk train. All of that stuff. And not only that, we have to figure out slag, trash cans, garbage containers. So all of this stuff, if I wanted to put this recycling center on another map, not only do I need to be able to get this stuff out of the map, but I also have to provide means of producing slag, trash cans, and garbage containers on wherever I want to place this. So we're going to have to figure that out as well, right? But that's about it. Anyways, I want to say hi to everyone who's in chat real quick. Dust Bunny, thanks for being here. I see that you're lurking, but that's totally cool. Anthic, welcome in. G-Meister, welcome in. Bill, how's it going? How's it going, buddy? We're doing good. Brady, hello. How are you? Good morning. Anyways, how do we do that? That's a lot to do. How do I even figure out all the stuff that I need to get? Let's figure it out. Let's quit. And we're going to go to this view here. And what are we looking at? we are looking at our folders for this is our editing folder, including the new production. So I've created a folder for a new production here. I don't know what to call it yet. We're just going to call it new production. I even made a thumbnail for it. So if we come in here to the mod desk, I took it from somewhere else. So we're just going to get rid of that. New product. We'll give it a name later on. We can call it their cycle center, actually. We don't care about German translations. Not right now. We don't need this. And then we need mod hub con.png. Perfect. And this is, and there we go. So this is all we need. So this is our basic kind of template, right? We're going to do this and we're going to say, let's recycle stuff. Construction costs, we'll fill that out later. Capacity, whatever, we don't care. Have fun. We'll include all the other stuff later, but for now, we're gonna call this, what we call this? The recycling center, REC, well, I see. This is our standard mod desk. So basically we're just calling out in the mod desk that we don't want version that, we want a 80 is the current version. Author, version, mod hub icon. It's not even a full version, but whatever, I'm gonna call it version 1. And this is the file that we're going to create, but that file doesn't exist yet because if we look back at our folder, we have a mod desk and we have an icon. That's all we have. We don't have anything else. Where do we get the other stuff? Okay, that's a good question. Let's look. Now this gets in a little bit on how do you read a map? Like if I have this map folder. If I have this map folder, how do I read that map folder? Like what? I don't understand. What is what? What do I look for? How do I look for it? So let's learn how we read a map files. How do we read the files? So we want this. Shazam. We were working on Isolated Valley last time. Cool. So we're going to copy from my old version of Deadwood. Is not the current version. It's an older version, but that's fine. We're going to close the stuff we did last time because we don't need it right now. How do I read a map file? How do I figure this stuff out? So if we go to Deadwood, this is Deadwood. And by the way, very first step before you even do this, and let's talk about this real quick. Stealing and claiming ownership is bad. It's against everything. Don't do it. Don't be like somebody else did and be like, oh, that's cool. I saw that in a map. I'm going to pull it out myself and I'm going to make a mod for it. And then I'm going to submit it to Mod Hub and say that it's mine. That's been done multiple times. And every time it happens, the community goes haywire. And those are not your thing. That's not yours. That's the map authors. The last example I can think of, or one of the examples I can think of, is there was a map by Mr. Hector called Carpathian Countryside. And in the main farm at Carpathian Countryside, there was this really cool like ramp thing, right? There was this really cool ramp thing. It went up like this and had a thing that cost, and it was a workshop trigger. You drove up on this like lift thing, you did work to your car, you drove off, right? Or car or vehicle, whatever. And somebody went into Carpathian Countryside, extracted that piece, and then released it on Mod Hub as if it was theirs. And Mr. Hector was like, hell no, that's mine. You can't take that. And then he got it blocked on Mod Hub, and that's stealing. What I'm talking about here, the first thing to do is talk to the mod author, right? I have a working relationship with with Poor Boy. My name is now on the ownership of this map, and Poor Boy, even though it is on the name, my name is on the map. I didn't make this stuff. Poor Boy did. I asked Poor Boy, and he said I can do whatever I want as far as these videos are concerned in regards to making content. I'm not going to release this on ModHub. It's just going to stay with my own stuff. But the first thing to do is talk to the people you're essentially taking stuff from, and make sure it's okay with them. Some people are probably not going to, they're not going to say yes. And if that's the case, you can only do it for yourself. You can't release it at all. It's against the entire community if you steal something from a map and then call it your own and release it. That's against the entire idea of the modding community. Don't do it. The first thing I did before we even got doing this video was I asked Poor Boy, hey, can I make a video about taking something from Deadwood and making a mod out of it? And he said it was fine. So first thing to do, talk. Make sure you have permission. If you don't have permission, don't even think about putting it out. The answer is no. 100%. Good point, Tobo. The answer is no unless you ask. If you don't ask, the answer is no. It's never yes. And it's, even if you can't get in touch with that person, the answer is still no. So if you try to contact, like if I want to say, oh, I like Silabuki's pizza production that's on Goldcrest Valley. I love that production. I like the building too. I'm going to steal it, call it my own, and release it. No. And if I contact Silabuki and he just doesn't answer, it's still no. Answer's no. No, don't do it. I'm not showing you how to do it. I'm showing you how to do it for yourself, but do not ever release something. I'm just showing you how to like pull something out and the pieces of it and what those pieces are and all the things you have to think about if you wanted to do it for yourself. But don't ever release something like that, to be fair. But this same process would work for base game stuff. If you wanted to pull something out of Elm Creek, make a mod out of it, and then potentially release it, you could do that. They're not going to allow it on ModHub, but you could do that because anything in the base game is kind of free to use for whatever. And that's why you see a lot of mods out in the marketplace that are based off of assets from Elm Creek or Erlengrad or Hobelaront. Those assets are public as far as Giants is concerned, and we as modders are allowed to make other mods from those things. That's why you see all the production buildings look like buildings and stuff off of Elm Creek, right? That's just how it works. Anyways, I'll get off my soapbox for a minute and get into this, right? How do you read through the map and figure it out? Okay, let's look. Perfect. Anytime you have a question, I'm happy to answer it, Tobo. Just reach out. Okay, so first of all, we're going to enter our mod desk. This is the mod description for the map. And in that mod description, there is a maps line, and each time for each map, there could be multiple. This line says how the map is defined. Okay, and so I'm thinking about something placeables. So anytime you have a production, that production is a placeable. It might not be what you think it is, but it is a placeable. So if I look at this line and I scroll over, right here, see how it says default vehicles XML file name? That's where all the vehicles are. The placeables, default placeables XML file name, which is basically the default placeables that get added to the map when you create a new save game. As you can see, the default items, it's loading the default items are being loaded from the data directory. So that's the default map US items. That's fine. But the placeables is the one I'm looking at because I know, and I'm telling you that if you have a placeable production on a map, that production has to have something that's placed on the map because triggers and trigger zones have to be, there has to be a tie between the XML that says how those triggers work and the model, which is how those triggers are. And those things can't be encoded into a map. It has to be placed. So anytime you see a trigger of any kind anywhere in the map except for two, which is the store icon and the animal dealer icon, those are the only two. Any other trigger anywhere else on the map has to be a placeable. That's how it works. So I know from this line that the file that I'm looking for is map./placeables. So I'm gonna go into maps. I'm gonna go down to placeables. I'm gonna open it, and I'll be like, okay, find recycle, and look at that. There is a file, the one I'm looking for, and I'll like space it out and stuff like that. Like this is the recycling center in the map. So if I see the map, and I'm just breaking it off onto multiple lines so it's a little bit easier to see. Each line in this file defines where in the map a placeable gets placed. So it's bound by a name. Everything that's, you're supposed to have them bound, but it isn't required. The file name, which is the file that we're going to look at in just a minute. The position of that file name, which is the position in the world space of the map. Not the position of the placeable inside itself, but the world space, where on the map it gets placed. And then the rotation. Is it rotated or not? I don't know. And that's how the maps are built. So we want this file, which is placeables, recycle production.xml. So I'm going to close this folder. I'm going to go to placeables. I'm going to go to recycle production, and I'm going to go to recycle production XML. So this is the recycling center XML. This is from the map. So if I want to take this thing and bring it out of the map as a standalone thing, this is the file I need. So I'm going to go to my file folders here. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to go to my file folders here. Go to my new production. I'm going to go to placeables, recycling center. And I'm going to take this folder, copy, paste. Now I should have everything of that recycling center. Now we have to make sure a bunch of stuff that it's not going, that it may or may not work, but I should be able to place the recycling center. Now there's a few caveats to that. You can't actually place the whole thing. So first of all, so we're going to actually change that a little bit. We're going to go new folder. We're going to go production. And then I'm going to put that stuff in the production folder. Okay. So we're going to have a production folder. And then we're also going to have a items. Is items the right thing? Palettes. We're also going to have a palettes folder. We'll talk about that in a minute. So in our own files, we now have a copy of the recycle production. And so if I get this, copy, go back into my mod desk for my stuff, which I call it new production. It should be here, recycle production, and it's going to be production/recycle production, right? So when I try to load this into a game, it's going to show up. Okay. And then if we look at it, let's look at this thing. And the first thing we need to do when we look at our own version of that recycle production to make sure we're editing ours and not the one on the map. Hey, Rusey. Hey, Phil. Welcome in. Yeah, I think a beat the beat puller. Yeah, maybe. We need to make sure that these are all going in the right place. So right now, these paths for stuff like the image and the file name, they're pointing to the maps directory structure, not our mods directory structure. And so our mods directory structure is production/recycle production. Now, and there's no placeables directory. So we have to edit this and just go like this. Production, store recycle production. Just go like this. If we're smart, we don't have to type anything. Recycle production. Yeah. And then we look at through the whole file and make sure that all of the paths that are in the file, anything that's pointing to an XML file or a sound file or anything like that, is If I remember, this thing was super loud, so we're gonna turn it down. I don't know if that's the right thing. We'll fix it. Do I have anything else that might have this thing? Roan, did I do it here? No, that's not right. I'm looking for one little thing real quick. I do this in all my files just to make sure. Here, so I want this URL. This URL right here is important. So this is basically the absolute URL. So see this path right here? This path doesn't exist. It just doesn't exist. Trust me on that. I need this to point to the web to get the spec for placeables. So if I hit save, now when I edit my file, see how it says volume level? Volume level is not a valid thing, right? Volume level is not able to appear in idle. I don't know, is volume? I don't know. Level? Volume scale. That's what it was. It was volume scale. I was close. And so now I get autocomplete within my thing, and it also calls out stuff that's not supposed to be there. So I get syntax highlighting. It's always a good idea to make sure when you're editing something, any mod, that you have a proper namespace location for the mod that you're doing. We've talked about that in previous things. I'm not going to go into that now, but that's it. So it's $150,000 to place to buy this and place it. We're gonna leave the prices alone. Okay, well, let's see if it worked, right? Like, we've done a small amount of work, but let's see if what we've done so far actually worked. So what we're gonna do, and I know for a fact that it's not. So I'm showing you why it's failing, and I'm showing you how it's failing, and then I'm gonna show you how to fix it. So I'm going to load up a new game. And I'm going to go into, I don't know, Elm Crake or Hobileron or something. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Let's go here. Career. Empty slot. New farmer. We could go to isolate value. Let's just go to No Man's Land. No Man's Land. I like using No Man's Land because it loads really fast. So we're just going to use easy dev controls and the map itself. And then we're going to select our new production, the recycle center. So that's why we create an icon so it shows up. Then I'm going to hit start. And I'm going to load in. And when I'm loading in, because I'm developing things, I'm going to open the log. And I'm going to watch the log as I load in. And anything that shows up as bright red is an error, which means something's wrong. It'll show up red or yellow. It'll say error, warning, blah, blah, blah. So there's no errors or warning right now because it's just No Man's Land. We're not doing anything with it yet. Confirm. This is New Farmer on No Man's Land. I don't think I've ever done New Farmer on No Man's Land. Let's go over here. Let's give ourselves some money. And I'm going to buy this land. I've done this exact same thing like a billion times. I always buy this plot and this plot. And then I come in here to our production menu, construction, production, scroll to the end, and here is the recycling center. Oh, look at that. It actually is the whole thing. Look at that. That's pretty cool. Great job, poor boy. You did a really awesome production. Now, sometimes, so I'm going to place this down. It's actually almost like this is going to be the easiest tutorial ever. As you can see, it has the building. The building already has textures, right? It looks right. It has the triggers. It has the warning stripes. It even has like ground textures where the stuff spawns. And if you've never used this building, you're supposed to bring trash and stuff to it, and it recycles them and puts up junk cars and junk trains and junk water tanks, and junk loaders, junk, and then also a junk train. It's a big, huge junk train. But poor boy did a really great job with that. So good job. So that isn't necessarily always the case. What happens if I wanted to create a production on something that wasn't like, that was already part of the map, but I want to extract that thing. Like, let's say I don't like this pink building. I want to use a different building. Let's just for the sake of argument, let's do something more complex and make our lives harder. Why am I doing this? I don't know. All right, let's save so we don't have to come back in here. So save, blah, 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 blah. Quit. Let's grab a building from, I don't know. Let's grab a building from Haut-Belleron. I never grab buildings from Haut-Belleron. Let's grab a building from Haut-Belleron. So we're going to go here. We're going to go to our data directory. We're going to go to placeables. Actually, no, we're not going to go to placeables. We're going to go to Haut-Belleron. We're going to go to maps, map French, and open the map. The whole map. A lot of times, and this is the way a lot of people build placeables, is they tend to pull a building off of a base game map and create a placeable based on that building. And for that matter, the building Poor Boy used may have been one of those buildings. But how do you do that? How do you get something off of a base game map and put it into another thing? Like, that part is actually pretty interesting, but it's confusing, right? So let's go here. So we're in, this is Haut-Belleron. Whoopity-doo. We got this town. We got these buildings. And I want, what do I want? I want a standalone building. And so I can pull it out and use it for something else, essentially. So let's look at these buildings. Is this building a standalone building? Yes, it is. I don't think I've ever seen anyone use that building for a production before. We could do that. What else do we have here? I actually really like this, like this corner building thing here, but it includes like a lot of elevation changes, so I don't want to deal with those. There's a train transfer silo. We could use that. Sawmill. We could use that. Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's not really anything unique. Maybe that's why people don't use buildings from Haut-Belleron, because they're all boring. Like, this side of the map doesn't have the orange roofs. It has like brown roofs. I'm not seeing anything that stands out. This one could be a... Does this one include the ground? Oh, I like this. This one has like a door. It's probably not a door that works, but it's probably a door. Okay, let's use this one just for the fun of it. Right, we're gonna take Poor Boy's production building and make it look like it fits on Haut-Belleron. So what did I just do? All I did was move around the map, and then I clicked on the building I want. Literally. Sometimes when you click on the building, like, you end up getting like something like this, like something inside the building. Like, this is the occluder mesh, which means where you can't see through, what light doesn't shine through an occluder mesh. Occlude, cover, darken. So really you want this. Well, you don't want this. So that's the one above it, because that one includes all the fences and stuff, and I don't care about the fences. I want country building 04. All right, and so you have to have G to do this. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to File, Export Selection. It's that easy. We're gonna go into our new production and go into the production, put it in here. And what do we call this? Country building 04. Save. Okay. Good. We're done. Hey Richard, how you doing? We're going to close the French map. We're not going to save, because then it would be saving our French map and we break our French map. So let's go back to what we were editing and see what we got. What did it give us when we saved something from a map? Here, new production. What did we get? We got country building 04, an i3D file. And we got our cycle this shapes file. We never look at their shapes file. Those are kind of just part of the way Giant save stuff. But let's look at this file. Why do I want to look at it in code? Right? Why do I want to do that? That doesn't make sense. Okay, here's the reason why I want to do it. So I look at country building 04. This is what got exported. I only care about this top block right here. Anything past the files section, I'm not going to touch. I never do. But anything inside the files section, I do want to look at. And the reason is, I want to make sure that when I exported it, it gave me this. I don't want all those textures in my own mod. They're already on the French map, which means they're already in your data directory, which means they're already in your game files. You don't need to copy those over. You already have them. Why bother? So I want to make sure that what I've exported is already using the existing stuff. And as you can see, it has a building shader, it has a snow heap shader, has a translucency shader, has a glow. What the hell is a glow shader? I think that's for the windows. Anyways, we made sure that that one works. Now let's look at our recycled production itself, the one that we're actually building. Now, if we look, the recycled production is also all pointing towards the data directory, except for a few textures that Poor Boy customized, and those are going to local files. You also want to make sure that sometimes when you do this copy paste stuff, it might have this, it might have like this. Maps, product. Right? Sometimes when you do it, what's for a, I don't even know what a missive is. You're saying words that don't compute. Dashboard lights. Okay. Why would you have dashboard lights on a building? The only thing I can think of is it's for like the kind of glow for the buildings at nights, the building windows at night when you look inside the buildings. That's all I can think of. Is that right? Anyways, sometimes when you export something from a map or you take something from a map, you'll get something like this path, like a path looks like this, where you have like, sometimes it's like this, right? And because it's pointing to something in your computer's file system, not pointing to the local thing. So you want to make sure that anytime you get this, you get rid of these big paths, and that this path right here, textures / garage view. So if I look at it, this file is in this folder right here. So /textures is the textures folder that it created, and it has all of those textures. That's super, super important. Because if it doesn't, and you try to release it and you give it to someone else, they're not going to have the same file structure that you do. They might not have the map that you pulled it from, which means it's not going to work. So you have to come in, and one of the things you have to do is make sure that those file folders and structures are correct for you. I've seen other maps. I've seen maps get released, usually privately, where stuff doesn't work. And you look into the map file, and it has directory structures that point to like C/Frank/ blah 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 farm sim 22 / my mods that I'm customizing for myself / blah blah blah. Like, no, that obviously won't work if you release it that way. Now, obviously, Giants is going to stop stuff like that, and it's not going to happen. But private release modders don't understand that, and a lot of times they don't actually make sure that their map is, or thing that they're releasing, is standalone. And a lot of times you get these weird, stupid paths. Anyways, we don't care about the paths. We care about the building. So we're going to open up the recycle production here. We're going to open up, and we're going to replace the building. And you don't want to duplicate files. Exactly. So that's why I want to make sure that all of those things that should be pointing to the data directory are pointing to the data directory. I don't need my own copies of shaders or of textures, especially textures. Textures are huge files. If I want to make a map that's small, I need to have my own copy of it. So let's pretend that, let's pretend that I don't want, this is a garage. I think it's probably from Elm Creek that Poor Boy recolored to be red, something I do all the time. Let's pretend that I don't want this garage anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hide it. Goodbye. Goodbye, garage. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go to File, Import, Country Building 04. And now Country Building 04 is imported. Where is it? I don't know. Well, anytime you export something from a map, its location in the world is based off of the center of the map. I'm building a mod, so my center is just for me. Whereas a map, its center is the center of a 2 kilometer by 2 kilometer map. So 0, 0 for that map, like the center point is the center of the map. And so its location is based on the center of the map. So as you can see, this thing is far off in the distance, up pretty high, because it was at the top of a hill. I don't want it there. I want it right here in the middle of my map. So I'm going to go in here and go 0, 0, 0, and boom. Now, this building is right here in the middle of my map. I take the rotation out. I'm trying to think how I want to fit this. So we're going to move stuff around because we're making kind of our own thing now. So we're going to do this. The train is going to spawn behind it. And then, so we're going to do that. It's 0, 0, 0. And then we're going to take this and we're going to hit the middle mouse button, drag it up, and put it into our visual group. So this is our visual. So everything that's visual for this mod is all inside that group. And then if I want to take the flat bottom tank, which he has made look rusty, it doesn't fit with our building right now. So we're going to do that. And then actually we want this to move back. So let's move the tank back. Tank is going to go here. The building is going to go here because there is something that spawns right here. And we're going to have put the production trigger right here in this little corner, right? So this is our new building. We could do a copy of the tank if we want. Do 2 tanks. Ours is going to have 2 tanks. There you go. Beautiful. And actually, because I know that this train is really big. Oh, that's not going to work. I could group all this stuff and move it, but I'm just going to move it. So we want to move this over here a little bit like that. And we're going to move our tanks so they fit, because when the train spawns, there's a train that spawns right here. It's giant. It takes up a lot of space. So we're going to move it like this and like that. And now we have our own building and it'll look cool because this is the drop point, which is right at the garage door. And then in the back, we'll have our player trigger back here, right? Good question, Richard. So the collisions will move when you move i3D elements if those collisions are a sub piece of that element. Sometimes they're not. So sometimes when a thing is not structured properly, then this stuff doesn't move together and you have to move it separately, or you have to rebuild it so that those things are a subset. So as you can see here, the collisions, the way Giants build stuff by default is everything has an underscore viz, it has an LOD, an LOD1, it has collisions, it's all built in. You know, Nacho, I have a 3D mouse, but I don't use one. I'm so used to using the keyboard because I quickly and frequently switch between using my whole desktop setup and using a laptop. So with the same computer. So I've learned to do it with a mouse. So a lot of times when you see me doing stuff, I'm using key commands. But that's a great question, Richard. And now that we've moved the building, we could put the trigger right here, the door. I don't want to put it at the door because then the train will spawn on top of the trigger. So what do I talk about the trigger? So this is a production. So obviously it has stuff. It has pallet spawners. It has a production point. The production point itself is going to have a player trigger, which right now is in the middle of one of these bins. So I'm going to move that trigger to be right here in the little nook behind the building. Sounds like a good idea. Right? I'm going to put that there. And then there. That's it. So now we've changed how this building looks. That's cool. We could actually change this tank to have a rock texture if we wanted to. That's another video. I'm going to leave it alone for now. We've gone far enough. So now I've changed the look of it and I've changed the structure of it. I've moved a couple triggers, but most of the triggers and stuff are in the right place. Let's make sure the loading station is still in the right place. So the loading station is not in the right place. The loading station is supposed to be next to the tanks. Since we moved the tanks, we didn't move the loading station. So let's check that. Perfect. We've moved the loading station. The selling station. Actually, I did it wrong. I'm sorry. I did that wrong. So we should. So whenever you like the loading station, selling station, all that stuff should be based off of 0, 0. If I want to move that loading station or the trigger marker, I should move those individually, right? So right now the loading station is way out front. I don't want it there. So I'm going to move it back here and I'm going to put it right here in front of the door. Now the marker is still way out. So I'm going to move the marker to the same place. One of the reasons I like having this grid visible is it allows me to line stuff up that aren't parent-childs of each other. So the loading trigger, the center of that loading trigger is kind of right here in the middle of the door. I'm going to put it right here. And if I move that there, then the marker, I want to have it on that same point. So I'm just going to do that, and that's close enough for me. I think it's a little bit high off the ground, so I'm going to move it down for the marker. The unload trigger, if I remember correctly, the selling station. Oh wait, I just did something totally wrong. My bad. Let's do that again. So the selling station should be right here. The unload trigger AI node should be here. That's the selling station. The loading station should be over here on the side. So whenever you're building stuff like this, just remember, like, nothing is final. Even if you save, you can move stuff around, you can tweak stuff, you can make stuff bigger, smaller, whatever you want. Even after, it's not like a one stop and done. It's a keep doing it that way. So if you do that, so yes, to answer your question, it is actually easier to have the loading trigger be a subchild of the trigger. So the loading station trigger marker should be a subchild of the trigger. Now, the reason why you wouldn't want to do that, this is something that happens all the time, is if someone scales the loading trigger, if I did this, and I'll show you what it looks like. Let's say I want this loading trigger to be bigger and the marker is inside. And I set this to 0, 0, 0. Now the marker's inside. Yeah, when you're editing like this, you're constantly adjusting and fine-tuning, constantly. Don't ever expect it to be perfect the first time. You have to keep adjusting and making it the way you want. But yeah, so let's move the trigger marker inside because that makes sense, right? The only thing is, now that I've moved this, this path is wrong. So if I come here, I copy, if I go back to the actual recycle production and I come down to here, the loading station trigger marker was pointing to this, and now it's pointing to this because I changed its path. So the marker would disappear if I don't update this. So since I'm relying on what's there, if I change the structure of that stuff, I need to come here and update it, right? So, well, you know, but I'm showing everyone else. Gosh. I'm showing everyone else. So what's going to happen? Let's come in here, save. So now we have a loading trigger, selling trigger, production point with a player trigger, a teleport node, which is over here. I'm going to put the teleport node. Where am I going to put the teleport node? I'm going to put the teleport node right here in this little corner. And I think it's going to be facing the wall. I forget if it's going to be facing blue or red. I think it's going to be facing blue, which is what I want. So I think blue is the right way. I'm not sure. I don't remember. So if I don't remember and I'm not sure, what's the best thing to do? Test it out. So let's test it out. Like, we've saved. I hit save. Oh, let's make sure I hit save. The way I check to make sure I save, I hit Control S. I look at this log. I make sure that this time matches the clock time. I make sure that I hit save. If you didn't save, you're not going to see your changes, and it's just going to waste your time. Again, save. And let's go back in the game. We've been out of the game for a little while. Let's go back in. I know you guys are jonesing for a little bit more farm sim in your life. No, that's the wrong one. What were we doing? I thought we had a game save for this. Oh, it must have been this one. All right, let's make sure our production is selected. Good to go. Bam. And the big thing with a production, and you see this a lot in mods, is when you have a production, where those triggers are and how big they are and how they move and all that kind of stuff is very, very important to the usage of that mod. So if the trigger's in the wrong place and you try to dump something into it, it's just not going to work. Oh gosh. We're going to take our little old and damaged Steyr, and drive over to our production facility so that we can just tab to it. Actually, because they're lazy, Richard. Lazy. And also file size. So for a building to open, that means that the interior of the building also needs to be modeled and also needs to have textures. And if you make a building that's not enterable, then you only have to texture the outside of the building. You never have to texture the inside of the building. You don't have to worry about collisions inside the building, like furniture to walk around and blah, 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 blah. And that lowers the file size. So in some way, it's not necessarily that they're lazy. It's that they're trying to keep their base maps optimized for the most fast loading times and all that kind of stuff for the base maps. But I don't agree with that policy. I think they should make all of their buildings enterable. They should make them interactive. They should make them feel real. I should be able to walk inside of a production building, like this production building that we've built. I should be able to walk inside. All right, so here we are. We've driven down to our thing. We leave our stair here. And we come in here and look, this is our recycling center. It now looks like a building from Ho Belleron. Good job. So we got the building all set. We've got our little player trigger here. Look, the player trigger is kind of floating in the air though. We can fix that. It looks like I'm stopped by something. There's something here that's blocking me from moving into this corner. What's that? Oh, I'm hitting the collision of the building that used to be here. All right. Well, I think we're gonna have to get rid of that building. I was just leaving it there just so, for the sake of it, we're gonna have to get rid of it. But here's the problem. Remember how we said, hey, we're gonna make this trigger bigger? And if we look at our trigger, the trigger's bigger. It's a nice big trigger. That's good. For the dump station, you want it to be down low to the ground. This one's a little bit too low, but we can make it taller. But we made this trigger bigger, but the icon was inside the trigger when we made it bigger, which means that the icon is now bigger. Right? But we can fix that. That's super easy to fix. If we come in here and go to our trigger, load trigger? No. Come on, catch up with me. It doesn't like the fact that I have the game and GE and my streaming software open all on the same computer. So this is going to be a little slow. My apologies. Come on. Come on. Catch up with me. Ah! What's going on? I think it's mad at me. It's totally mad at me. It's crashing. I think GE is crashing. Ah! No. Can I go back to the game? Is the yeah, Giants editor is totally crashing. Anyways, I'll save here. Escape. I'll get out of the game. Fine. Save. So what happened? What do we need to fix? We found a few things we need to fix. All right. Is this now working? I think it's broken. No. We saved it before we went in, so we're just going to open it back up again. I think it's actually the streaming more than anything. I'm still set up. My computers and everything else is still set up to stream and record from the same computer that I'm playing the game on. And I'm going to be switching that at some point, but right now it's still set up that way. All right, so let's go here. Fly around now. Perfect. It's working again. All right, let's go to the loading station and see what we did. Why did we break it? So we broke it because the loading trigger right here and this is inside. This trigger marker is inside this loading trigger, but we've scaled the loading trigger to 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, and it's bigger, which is good, but it also means that anything inside of it based on the dependency tree will also be scaled the same amount. This is a feature, not a bug. To fix it, all we need to do is go edit, freeze transformations on the node that we scaled, and then we click on scale, preserve instances, make sure preserve instances there, otherwise it creates a copy, and then we hit apply. And now our scale is set to 111, which is what we want. Because then if we go inside, now this is set to, you see what I'm saying? So the thing on the outside, which is the parent, if you scale the parent, all the children scale also. The reason is, and the reason they do it that way, is that if I come in here to the visual for the country building, let's say I wanted a really small country building, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, right? Let's pretend, oh, I hit 0.5, 0.5. So we have a little mini country building now, which looks really funny. But the reason they do it that way is because now, if you look, like stuff like the occluder mesh, which is part of that parent, is now scaled alongside what was inside. So the reason they do that is so that you don't have to redo all the stuff inside. But people forget. So the one thing that people forget is that makes a lot of sense when you have an object or a model, right? That makes a lot of sense. But triggers or markers, this is a marker. It's just a point in space. That's all it is. It's just a point in space. But in our XML, we come up here. In our XML, we create the unload trigger marker. I'm sorry, the loading station trigger marker, which is the thing we're talking about. And we're applying something, which is this marker icons file, physically to a point in space. But that point in space is actually scaled by its parent, which means anything we put into that point in space will also scale. We were talking earlier about the icons floating a little bit. So let's fix the floating, just adjust to ground equals true. That's all we need. And so we fixed all that. What's the last thing we need to do with the model? We're going to get out of the modeling framework now, and then we're going to go into other stuff, which is equally important. So we need to come in here and get rid of the garage. Goodbye. Garage, thank you for being here. It's been fun, but we don't need you anymore because we replaced you with a brick building of someone's house that you can look inside and see their kitchen. And not only that, there's two different kitchens. There's this kitchen and there's this kitchen. So that must be an apartment building. That's crazy. Anyways, that's our model. We're done. Actually, these tanks, I want to move them back a little bit. Which one changes? If you want to make sure two things that are near each other are perfectly aligned, copy the one property that they share. Like that, boop, and now they're in line. Yay! That's a really good way to make two things that are like side by side aligned perfectly, is just copy and paste the translations. Anyways, so I'm gonna save and I'm gonna get out of GE because I don't like GE anymore. It crashed my computer. I'm angry. And let's make sure what we did worked real quick, and then we'll talk about what's broken. Because if you remember, let's turn this music down. If you remember, when we loaded in, there was a whole ton of errors. And why were all those errors there? What is wrong? Why are there so many problems? We need to fix those problems. And we can fix them. We can fix anything. I can fix anything. All right, let's load the game. Come on. The reason I use No Man's Land, by the way, if anyone's curious, is not because I love No Man's Land, because it's such a small file and it loads super quick. So I can just do that. If we look at our building, look, this is not floating up in the air anymore. It's down at the ground level where it should be. So that's the adjusted ground equals true. This one also, if you remember in the original mod, it was up here in the air. It's now down at the ground level, which is what we want. Adjusted ground equals true. Come in here and look, we can get into the corner here. This is our trigger. We can get to it. We can access it. Fantastic. Now look, here's one of our problems. Do you remember there was 4 recipes here? And now all I have is a recipe that turns corn into nothing. Our recipes are totally borked, right? And this in parentheses fill type junk car doesn't really make sense. So we're gonna get rid of that. But why is our recipes borked? Where's all our items? What the heck? What the heck? Oh, the one last thing I want to chest. Come over here. I'll come here. I'm gonna click on the recycling center and I'm gonna click visit. Oh, and I'm facing the wall. Oh, it's actually the red direction, not the blue direction. I want to be facing the icon, not facing the wall, which means we do need to open the model one more time, but we'll get out of the game first. I think I can make that change without testing it. I'm smart. And if I was actually real smart, I would just go into the code and edit it straight in the code, which you could do. I can actually show you that. Here, I'll show you that. Ready? Watch this. Go back in the code. I'm gonna do something crazy and dangerous, but super smart. So I'm gonna look for loading. Here it is, loading station trigger marker. Right? Loading station trigger marker. Right now, there's no translation. So default, if it's 000, it doesn't bother adding 000 on the file a million times. But there's no rotation, right? I could do this. Copy. Paste. Save. And now it's going to be rotated. It's not going to show up in GE as rotated. I have to reopen it if I edit the actual thing from a code standpoint. And now I just rotated it. Look at that. I'm so quick. I did it without opening GE. I actually changed something in a model without actually opening GE. How dare you? Actually, that's not the one I wanted to change. That's not the one I wanted. I wanted the teleport node. The teleport node. That's the one I wanted. Dang it. Changed the wrong one. I was trying to show you something cool, but I changed the wrong thing. Where's that rotation? Copy. Rotation. Save. Now I have to open the dang thing again. Where is it? Where's the words? Recycle production. Let's go look, see if I rotated the right way. I guarantee you I didn't, but if I did, it would be like Home run. Teleport node. Clicking on the teleport node, and look, I rotated it the wrong way. It was actually supposed to be negative 90. I was close though. The red points the direction in which you're facing. Remember that, Josh. Red direction. Whatever. So if I save this, here's the key, right? If I hit save, I go over to my code editor where I actually rotated it here. It's going to update automatically in the code editor, but Giant's editor doesn't do that because Giant's editor assumes that it's the source of truth. And I've basically told it, no, actually, I'm like looking at the camera and like talking to the camera, but the camera's not even on, whatever. It assumes that it's the source of truth, but it's not, because I can edit that in the code. I edit i3D files in code all the time. But anyways, we've rotated that. There was nothing else we wanted to fix, so we're going to close this. Yes. And we're going to close this file because we don't need it. Now, why is our items not working? That's the next thing we have to fix. Why? So this whole thing, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to take out the parentheses S thing because I don't really care, because they're not all making junk cars. Every one of these productions is making multiple outputs. So we're taking in trash cans, junk cars. So the way that this whole thing works, and this is actually something to learn, right? Here, we'll show you this real quick. %S. The way this was set up, right? Oh, I have a good one. Anthix, have a great day. Thanks for stopping in. The way this is set up is that the name uses string replacement. So %S means string 1, %S means string 2. So it'll take this string and then that string. And the reason that that's being done is because you can't put two strings. Like, you can't do this. This right here won't work. Right? Because this is a translation and that's a translation, and this as a string doesn't exist. It doesn't exist as a translation. The game will fail. It won't work. But if you want multiple translations to happen in a single output to the user, you need to do something like this, %S. But in reality, really all we need here is like this, and then it'll translate properly. But we're going to just, kind of leave the translations set up the way they were in the original file. And then just remove the second parameter because we don't need it anymore. So this, move that. Done. Okay. So what's wrong here? Well, what's wrong is that the base game on other maps don't know about these things, these items, these output fill types. We don't know about those fill types. Another map doesn't know about those fill types. So how do I do that? How do I get those fill types onto another map? That's step 2. So step 2, and the reason why we created a palettes directory, we're going to come in here and we're going to go into, I don't know what I'm going to create for folders. Let's just look. So I think it's palettes, but whatever. Let's go back to Deadwood. We haven't been back on Deadwood in a little while. Let's go back to Deadwood. So if we go into Deadwood, fill planes TP, fruit. These are all the HUD things. We're going to need, do we need fill planes for any of these? Yeah. Asphalt, iron, gravel, sand, pay dirt, crude oil. I feel like we need a fill plane for, slag. Anyways, sorry, distracted. Pallets. We're going to need pallets for all those pallets that need to spawn. So what pallets do we have? We had, let's do all the junk stuff. Junk car, junk dozer, junk loader, junk tank, junk train. All the junk stuff we need. We also need a charcoal. Copy. Paste. Okay, we have all the pallets that we need. And then we have to look at our items. So how do we get items from one place to another? Why not? I got a mod release? Cool. Which one? I don't even know. I literally woke up, I had a meeting, and then I started the stream. I don't even know. Which mod came out? Trickle usage? Or was it more than one? I haven't even looked. David, tell me. Come on, which mod? Towboat, somebody. Which mod came out? We can look together if you want. Here. Mod Hub. Log in. There's one lot. Oh, yay! Trickle usage finally got released. Yay! All my other stuff is still in testing. Testing. Whoops. Sawmill, spawn pallet stacked update, BioBaler Pro, all in testing. BPW testing complete. And trickle usage got released. Yay! Everyone go vote. Looks like it came out just now. There's no, isn't even any downloads yet. Somebody download it, please. Anyways, back to what we're doing because we only have a limited amount of time. So we have the pallets we need. Next thing we need to find is the actual items that are in the map. So we're gonna go in here and we're gonna go to fill types, right? And this fill types has every fill type from the map. Okay, that's cool. Give. So I'm gonna take maps fill types, this thing right here. I'm gonna hit copy. I'm gonna go over here to my new production and I'm gonna hit paste. Okay, just listen. Copy the fill types from one to the other. Now, obviously, I don't want all the fill types. So let's start deleting and only keep the stuff we need. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna kind of like collapse things and only get the stuff I want. I'm gonna remove all these comments because they're stupid. We want fill types for all the stuff we want. We don't care about the base game fill types. The base game has its own fill types. Don't care. Don't care about productions. Don't care about that stuff. What's a tarp? Fill type tarp? Who added fill type tarp? That's silly. Did you know that a horse is a fill type? It's this like set up for like productions. The horses are fill types. Come on. So let's get rid of all the base game stuff. We don't need that stuff at all. That didn't work at all. What do we need in our mod? We don't need corn straw. We need crude. No, we need waste oil, right? We need waste oil. We need something else. Trash cans. So I'm just deleting everything that I don't, everything I need. Garbage container. I think I need that one. Junk car. Yep. You don't need nail. You don't need these. You don't need these. And we need slag. Look at that. Oh, and look, here's the fill type for prairie. Nice. We're not talking about that today. I think that's it. Okay, so what do we get from the map? We took waste oil, trash can, garbage container, junk car. So if we look back at our production, we look at the fill. We can look. The easiest way to look at all the fill types is right here: waste oil, trash can, junk dozer, maze, which is from the base game. So all of these things are. Let's separate them. Let's put them in like some kind of semblance of order. Right? So the outputs of this facility. So let's just make it easier for ourselves to understand what's going on. Outputs. And then now you can put comments in XML code all you want. These are just it's what's called a comment. I can do whatever I want as far as comments are concerned. I can put all the stuff in as comments. I can put as many comments as I want. And actually, Giants doesn't care as long as it's not outputting to the user. You can just leave stuff in. They don't care. Like this is from the one that got sent out, and there's a pipe effect thing that's commented out. They don't care because it doesn't actually make it to the user. Waste oil, I think, is an output, right? Right? Waste oil is an output. So let's move waste oil down to the outputs. So we have 4 inputs: maize, trash can, slag, and garbage container, and outputs of waste oil, junk loader, junk car, junk train. Right? Cool. So those are our inputs and outputs. So we got all of it. So yeah, waste oil, blah, 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 blah. And then we need to make sure that those things have fill type categories. Now this is the part that's really annoying and hard. It'll take a lot longer for me to explain it, but basically each of these categories has a purpose. And when you are doing a mod that adds in something, you only need to include the stuff that your mod adds. So I'm adding, what happens is if I submit this as part of my mod, it will add slag into the bulk category, which means I can pick it up with a trailer. It'll add a liquid in the liquid category, waste oil. I don't need pieces. I don't need windrow, any of this stuff. Mixer wagon, auger wagon, maybe. So these things I don't need. So you only need to keep the stuff that you really need. You only need to leave in the stuff that you actually need. So do we want, is slag something I can put in an auger wagon? No. Let's see here. Auger wagon, forage wagon, silage trailer, train wagon, yes. So train wagon, we want to be able to put slag in a train wagon. And now this is where I think syntax highlighting is super valuable. See how this is like not showing up the thing right with the words and stuff? It's not doing it. So yes, Eric, welcome in. Thanks for being here. I'm not making a new mod. So what I'm doing is I'm showing the process for taking a production from a map and making my own mod from that. I could potentially lease it on ModHub if I wanted to. I'm not going to, and we're just showing it. So basically, I'll load the game in just a second, but essentially we're taking a mod out of Deadwood with permission, and we're making a standalone mod for it, and then we're going to be able to do stuff. So remove. We don't I don't want to pick up slag with a fork. I might pick up slag with a shovel though. Okay, perfect. So when you have a mod, you really only need to keep the stuff that you actually care about. So do I want to put slag in a farm silo? Probably not. Do I want to put it in a hayloft? Nope. I do want to be able to pick it up with a loading vehicle. That makes sense. Why is it playing the same song over and over? Hold on. My music's playing the same song over and over. Go to a different song already. There. And then product, because it's a product to sell, I need to make sure all my stuff is sellable. So junks, just get rid of all the base game stuff. Furniture, strawberry lettuce, charcoal, eggs. That's all base game stuff. We don't need the BGA. We don't need that. We only need the stuff. This is going to take a little bit. Sorry. But this is the process. So I'm showing you the process. Junk ring, junk. Blah, 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 blah. Junk. Blah, blah, blah. Firewood, trash can. Oh, we missed one. Garbage container. We missed garbage container. There we go. And then sounds for fill types. We just need to make sure we have the right ones. If I search for slag, we don't have a sound for slag. What does slag sound like? It's gonna sound like iron, right? It's gonna sound like rocks. So slag should be here, actually. Poor boy, you missed something. How could you? And waste oil should sound like this stuff. when you are filling. So if you're ever filling with those things, they should have sounds. So we need fill type sounds. Poor boy, you missed something. I'm sorry. I had to point it out. And then we're all set. So we don't need sounds for trash cans and dozers and stuff like that. So how do I get this into the map? Like, so we've created a thing. Oh, new mod and mod. Thank you. I've been waiting for like a month for that one. Actually, what has it been a month? Let's look. Trickle usage live. Last update 6.9.6. Trickle usage created 7/26. I have been waiting for a month and 2 weeks, or a month and a week, or a month and more than a week, a month and 10 days for that to get released. So great job on your process, Giants. How do I get this map's fill types into the map? Well, it's actually pretty simple. We come in here to our mod desk and we tell our mod desk, we say, hey, fill types equals file name equals maps maps underscore fill types dot. Can I spell? Thank you. There we go. We're done. So we're basically saying, hey, this map needs these fill types, but we have to make sure those fill types are working. So all we did is figure out which ones we want. We've trimmed it down. Now we have to make sure it all works. So waste oil needs a HUD icon. So we need HUD icon. So let's look at our folder structure. For our own folder, where is it? Here. Let's create a folder, new folder for HUD. And let's get HUDs from here. And we need this one, this one, this one, this one. We're just going to use the same ones that he's using to, I mean, we could make our own icons if we really wanted to. We're not going to. So copy, paste. Got 5 junk. We got the junk stuff. We got a garbage container, trash can. Go away. Copy, paste. Do we get the junk train? We didn't get the junk train. Copy, paste. So these are all our HUDs. The HUD is like the little icon that shows up. The reason why some of them show up with a white border and some of them show up with without a white border is like this. It has a white border around it. It has a white background, where these ones, I don't know if you can see it. If we zoom in, you can kind of see it. See how this one has like that checkerboard pattern in the background, but this one doesn't, like the junk loader doesn't have the checkerboard pattern in the background. We could fix that if you wanted, if we had the original artwork. We're not going to, but I could show you how to do that later if you want. If anyone wants to reach out, we could actually fix all these icons to make them all transparent. We're not going to do it today. We have the HUDs. That's what we needed. So then let's do this, and then we're going to change this to HUD. This is our own file structure. So we can just do HUD. We actually use the right folder, palettes, garbage can. So now we have the XMLs for those all working. Do HUD. We can just change all of them at once. Just go and hit paste. And then fill planes. We don't have any fill planes. Garbage container. The slag has a fill plane, but it looks like it uses the olive fill plane, which that saves us some work. Whoopity-doo. And the palettes are all working. So now we have to just double check the palettes to make sure the files are, the directory structure is correct. And the palettes say palettes/junkcar and junkcar. And we started with a palettes directory. We started the same file structure, which gives us the benefit of win. All right. So we've changed a bunch of stuff. Let's go back into the game and test it. Yeah, so trickle usage. Thank you for everyone for downloading and rating. Don't forget to rate your mods however you like them. If you don't like it, don't give it a 1 star. Tell me directly and I'll fix it for you. Let's load our save. It's actually one of 8 mods. 6 mods? One of 6 mods that are currently pending. So now we only have 5 pending release that are in testing right now. I'm on a daily battle with Giants trying to track all of these mods and check all of their statuses and all that kind of stuff. All right, so now what do we change? We added in HUDs, we added in items, we added in fill planes. So technically, if I run over here and I go R, some of this stuff should actually work. So look, oh look, we have HUD icons. We have all the HUD icons. Look at that. Fantastic. All the icons are there. All of our types are there. All 4 recipes are there. We're missing some translations. That's easy. Okay, we can fix the translations. We can fix the fill types. All right, let's get out of the game quick. Yeah, see, it's like, I can't load this resource because you're telling me that it should be there, but it's not. It is there. What was that error? Let's go look at that error again. Sorry. New window. Go to open folder, farming simulator, blah, blah, blah. Go down to our log. What was that log error? So even if you close the game, the log is still there until you load the game again. So all of these errors are right here. New production HUD fill waste oil.png. But what? Oh, I'm missing the slag one for sure. Oh, there's no PNG. Why? Yeah, because it's HUD fill waste oil.png. Why is that? Where is that error? What is happening here? Oh, these are supposed to say, these are all supposed to say TDS. TDS. The game wants DDSs, so I don't know why it's complaining there isn't a DDS. Shut up. Stupid. We did miss the slag one, so let's go find the slag one. Maps. I think it's over here, and this one, it's here, I think. S for slag. Waste oil. Where's frickin' slag? Where was it? How do I find it? Okay, well, how do I find out where it was? Well, I'm gonna go back into maps. Go and open the fill types for the map. Find slag. Open slag. Where is it pointing to the HUD? HUDs fill slag.dds. HUD. Maps. HUDs. Fills. Oh, duh. I just didn't copy it because I'm a dummy. All right. We have all the HUDs. We also want the translations. So we're going to come back over to come in our code. Translations are a code thing. We're going to come over here and we're going to go to the mod desk, and Poor Boy includes all his translations in the mod desk in this format. So that's good. That helps us. And we're just going to go like this. We're going to go yoink. Yoink. It's not in multiple files. If it was in multiple files, this would be painful. And we're going to come in here and yoink. And we could just leave all of this, but I'm going to be nice and I'm going to clean it up and only get the stuff we need. That. And that. Whoops. Undo. From here up to trash can. From here up to slag. And from here up to... And we somehow missed one. Of course we did. Find garbage. There's supposed to be a garbage can. Garbage container. That's the one we're looking for. Full time. Trash can and garbage container. We need both of those in ours. Trash can and garbage container. Perfect. And we need waste oil. What? Okay. We need waste oil. I can't find the translation for waste oil. Is there a translation for waste oil? Maybe there isn't. Come back down here. We get a junk take, slag, waste oil. Oh, there's no translation for waste oil. Poor boy. How could you? $L10N underscore fill type waste oil. Gotta have translations. Gosh, for myself. So I'm gonna create a new translation for waste oil because I like doing things the right way. Come in here and go this. I'm not gonna translate to German because I don't care. COIL. And is that what I put over here? Waste underscore. Yep. Achievement name delivery stones. What? Is not an achievement for delivering stones. I'm sorry. There's no achievement connection in this system. We're not doing achievements yet. Giants hasn't even fixed it. It's still broke. Broke as hell. All right. Let's go back in the game. We fixed everything. Hopefully. Now, the one piece that we didn't do, that we're not going to do, is some of these things. Yeah, I agree, Eric. I also use localization files. I find them a little bit more manageable, especially from the perspective of I get people to help me with translations. So I can have someone submit a German translation or a French translation or whatever, and they can just do a pull request and submit it. So I prefer them also, but the old way of doing it, and honestly, the easy way of doing it, is putting it in your mod desk. For the purposes of today, it is better. The one thing Giants is still failing at, and we can call it out while we're waiting for the map to load, because I love calling out failures of Giants, is if you look, see this? Poor boy, because he provides the ability within his map to create platinum or premium. Platinum and premium, let's highlight them all here. Platinum and premium items, and all of those translations he had to copy or recreate from the DLCs and put them in his map because Giants refuses to allow a DLC as a requirement. The way it should work is you have dependencies. You have dependent. No, not dependent part. It's not dependent part. This is how it should work. And if you guys are wondering what this is or what it means, this would mean that I'm saying that my mod has dependency on the Forestry Edition because I'm making it, I want it to be dependent on the Forestry Edition, or I want it to be dependent on the Premium Edition. They don't allow that. Apparently this is not allowed. I had a huge argument with Giants over the past couple weeks on it. They don't allow people to have a dependency on a DLC. And their reason was literally, we don't want to deal with it. They actually said two different reasons. One, we don't want to deal with the fallout. And two, we don't want to create documentation for that. Those were their two answers, which are horseshit. It's just freaking laziness. So anyways, so we look at our production, see what we fixed. Everything is working now. Corn, slag, trash can, garbage container. They all have icons. The icons that are here are related to the first item in the output string of things that you're outputting. So the icon here should actually not be the output, but it should be the input, I think. But based on the way that the system works in the productions, the output fill type is what shows up as the icon for the thing. So if we wanted them to be like, let's say we want it to be just a little bit more like logical. So let's say I want corn. I want corn to show waste oil. I want slag to show the dozer. I want trash can to show the car. All we have to do is reorder. Whoops. My system is lagging due to the whole streaming and trying to edit thing. Come on, catch up with me. So we'll do junk car here. We'll do junk loader. Damn it. I can't stand when my system lags like this. Especially while I'm trying to stream and show you guys something. If we hit save, so all I did was reorder stuff. It's not going to show up directly in the game, I don't think. Yeah, it would take us to reload the game. But essentially, we have all these things. If we want to test the production to make sure that those things show up in game, we come in here, go into here, and go into this, go to current trigger, fill level, input maximum, output maximum, and then we wait. We back up and we wait. And so what we've done is we've set it to be full of all the stuff, and all of the outgoing stuff will also start coming. And which means that as soon as the game starts cycling, speed it up a little bit. When it hits the top of the hour, it'll start spawning. And it should start spawning those things. It doesn't seem to want to spawn things. I don't know why. Oh, because this is not active. Whatever. Why it's not spawning? Is it errors? Oh, here it is. You can only load existing store items. No store items for junk dozer, junk train. Okay, so we found an error. We found a bug. We almost got it working, but there's no store items for the pallets and stuff, right? Which is my fault. I forgot that. So when you're creating a mod and you have new pallets of stuff, those are all items that are store items. So we need to create a store item for everything that can spawn or can be spawned. So if we come in here, pallets, and we can probably get this from here. Nope, from here. Pallets, junk car, junk dogger, XML. Copy. We'll do like this, like this, like this, and like that. And I will just do them in order. Copy paste. Need a bunch of them. Waste oil, pallets, garbage can, pallets, garbage container, junk car, junk dozer. Now, of course, if you actually wanted to use this in your own map to actually have this stuff, you'd have to find a way to sell these things, because right now there's no sell point for them. Actually, there is. Because No Man's Land, by default, has a sell everything sell point. It'll only work in No Man's Land or within a sell everything kind of situation. But that's, so we need to add that, and now we should work. But so when we added to the fill types, go back to the fill types. down here, when I added those things to product or bulk or liquid, as long as there's a sell point that takes those things in, then you'll be able to use those. You'll be able to sell those things. So I could say that I could, in this new production, I'm going to say you need to sell everything mod. I don't care. Sucks to be you. Dependency mod name fs22. Sell everything. Save. Right. So I'm going to come over here to quit. And I'm going to go back in the game real quick. So I'm going to say the sell everything is a dependency because to sell all the stuff that I've just created, you need a sell everything type thing to be able to sell it. So I'm just going to say it's a requirement. I don't freaking care. Or like most people do, they'll include a specific sell point for those specific items. It's way past the scale of what we're trying to do today. So we're just going to say you require sell everything. So if I'm coming in here and I don't have sell everything, look, sell everything ain't here. I hit start. It's going to say Recycle Center requires sell everything. Do you want to download from Mod Hub? Sure, why not? Blah, blah, blah. Back. Career. Go into here. Sell everything is there now. If I don't select it, it's still going to warn me. Do you want to select our required mods? It basically creates a dependency from one mod to another. That's how dependencies work. And it's literally just this line, this little block right here. That's all it is. And now I'll be able to sell all that stuff, which is great. I don't have a way to create some of it, like slag. One of the inputs is slag or garbage cans or garbage containers. I would have to provide a way of making those things as potentially another part of the mod. But if we look now, everything is still working. We have names for everything. We have items for everything. But as we come over here, we should start seeing stuff spawn. Come on, spawn. If we look at our log's not failing yet. I don't have errors. Oh, whoops. I didn't actually set the production. I didn't save after I set the input values. Sorry, hold on. Blink. Come here. Current trigger. Nope. Fill level. Input maximum. Output maximum. And see, we're seeing these things spawn. So this is the junk tank. If we give it some time, the other stuff should spawn in as well. We'll get the train to spawn in, the junk car, the junk dozer. There's the train. The train spawned in. I don't know why it spawned in on its side, but it spawned in on its side. Good job. Come on. There's the junk dozer. Right, so it's our system is working, our items are working, they're in. I had put the junk dozer. This is a junk dozer and a junk train on no man's land. We did it. We are successful. And if I come in here and I go, oops, I come around here to the back and I take the inputs to nothing. So if I come here and do this, fill level, input, empty. Now we have inputs. The input works. If I come stand here like this, hit F12, and I come in here and I spawn a pallet of slag. I'm gonna spawn a pallet of slag. It goes down, goes away. If I spawn a garbage, where's the garbage can? Oh, that's general. All. What's it called? It should be a pallet. Did I not add it? Oh, you know what? I didn't add the garbage can. Oh, maybe it's called trash can. I was almost there. I just hadn't gotten there yet. Nope. Trash can's not there. So we missed the garbage can, the trash can. We're missing some textures from this junk loader. So we're getting close. Look, we spawned 2 trains. Look at that. That's fancy. So junk loader needs some work, needs some love, and we didn't get the garbage can. Save. Let's fix the last couple bugs with our new special extra mod thing. How do we fix the... So why is the junk loader not working? The junk loader is probably working because not working because when we copied stuff over, we didn't copy something, or the file name path is wrong. So how do I fix that? Okay, I'm gonna go to junk loader. I'm gonna open the junk loader in code. It's much easier to see in code. Now see how it says dot dot slash dot dot slash. See that dot dot slash madness? No, we're not doing that. If I go to the junk train's fine. The junk car has its own textures folder. So that's what we want for the junk loader. We want a new folder, textures, and we want it to have its own local textures, not this whole dot dot slash stuff, right? Anytime you see a dot dot slash in one of these things, it's probably wrong. And then front loader A, front loader B, we have to find that in Deadwood. Textures. Front loader A, B. All of these. See those? Copy. Junk loader. Paste. Front loader A, B. Da 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 da. All of that stuff. So there's 4 files. We got all 4 files. Good. Textures fixed. We forgot here we have garbage can and garbage container, but those are not spawnable. Why? Let's look. Product, garbage can, garbage container. They're set up as pallets. Let's look at those files. So let's go here. Yoink. Don't need the production anymore. Fill types. Trash can. It has a HUD. It has a file name. It has the pallet. It's set up as a pallet. Pallets, garbage can, garbage can. Do we get that file name wrong? Like, I'm just working through the debug process here. Garbage can, garbage container. Do we actually have those pallets in our folders? Nope, we don't have those pallets in our folders. So again, simple problem. I'm an idiot, which is pretty easy to solve. Pallets, garbage can, garbage container, copy, paste. Let's make sure they have their own textures. No dot dot slashes. No dot dot slashes, because it's all base game stuff. And we can go back into it and it'll hopefully work. And then I will be right. And so you'd have to have some way of creating this stuff. And so you'd probably not only want to be able to create a production, but you'd want to create something that gives you that output. So like slag on Deadwood, if I remember correctly, is an output of the furnace process or something like that when you're processing metal beams or something. So it's an output. It's a side effect. So I would have to create a production that has that as a side effect, or create a spawner that would spawn that thing continuously. So if we come over here, everything still works. Our junk loader is fixed. Look at that. All the textures are looking right. Everything looks good. All of our junk stuff works good. The train is, I don't know why it spawns 2. It's only supposed to spawn 1, but I think it has something to do with the fact that the train's on its side. We can fix that too. And then if I come here, we should be able to come here and go to F12, items, all garbage container spawns. And as you see that it's getting sucked in, good. F12, trash can. Oh, went by trash can. Here's the trash can looks. The trash can's small, so it just goes right in. If you look, we have 5,000 liters of garbage container and 1,000 liters of trash can in our production now. So all of our items are working. So we could just put these here so we can see what they look like. Here's the trash can. It is liftable without super strength. Cool. Let's do the garbage container. And for these, you could just do what they did on, what's it called? Why can't I pick this up? Oh, it's 5.1 tons. Oh, well, that makes sense. I can't pick it up because it's 5.1 tons. So I could do what they did on the Frontier and just put these all over my map, and I have to go pick them up and deliver them. Or I could have them be output from another process, from another production, whatever. So to make something like this completely work, you'd have to have something that generates these, or you have a way of generating them, or they come as a side effect of another process. But that's kind of outside the scope of what we're talking about here. So yeah, it is very heavy. Let's make it not so heavy. I mean, it's our mod. We've changed it, so let's make it not so heavy. Whoops. How much should a garbage container weigh? What do you guys think? I mean, it's got to be lifted with a forklift, right? And so the garbage container doesn't have its own, weight. It does, but the container itself has a weight of 60. And the reason it's so heavy is the garbage container is a pallet of garbage container of that fill type. So if we go back to our fill types up here, it doesn't have its own weight, but the fill type, the mass per liter is 1. So the reason it's so heavy is it's full of itself, and the self is super heavy. So if it's 1,000 liters at 1, that's 1,000 pounds or kilograms. It's 1,000 kilograms. So it would basically be, and since the trash can has also a mass per liter of 1, it would be 1,000 kilograms per trash can. So it shouldn't be liftable at all. Maybe I was only be able to lift it because it was super strength. So like 1,000 liters, if I still want to be liftable, I should change these like that. Waste oil, maybe 0.2, right? Trash can, maybe 0.5. The trash weighs something. The garbage container, if it's, this could be 0.2, right? And so that weight is per liter. So if it's 1,000 liters, it's going to be super heavy, which is why when you go in game, if I change these, I would have to actually get out of the game. So let's save, since I did some stuff, save. Quit the game, load back into the game one last time. And this is why you test everything. You test everything. A lot of people don't do this. A lot of people will create a map and they'll create some stuff and then they don't test the stuff. And so, you end up with a garbage container that's 5 tons. And of course there's some front end loader somewhere that's gonna be able to pick that up, but that seems a little much. Maybe 1 ton at most. Maybe the container itself weighs a ton, and then what's in it is not super heavy. And of course you tweak those values. So you have 2 values to play with. You have the value of the contents, the garbage, and you have the value of the container itself. And technically, if you wanted to make these even simpler, you could have the garbage container have 5,000 pounds of garbage, and the trash can would have 5,000 pounds of garbage. And so garbage could be a fill type. And so either one would be just different quantities of that same thing. And then you'd have to update, if you did that, you'd have to update your production to not see those as 2 unique things, but to see them as one thing. But the way Poor Boy built it, he built it so that they would be unique items, but you could just have garbage as a fill type, right? But then you'd have to have a fill type plane and make it a look to it. This way you don't have to deal with fill planes or anything like that, which is always kind of boring. So let's go back in. Let's see how much our stuff weighs now. This is why I brought the stair there, so I could go in and out and have this. So now come over here. Now it weighs 160 kilograms, right? So maybe we went a little too far. This weighs 50 kilograms. This actually seems right. Like a garbage can weighing 50 kilograms. That seems about right. This weighing 160, it's a little bit too light. So let's go here. Let's do 0.1. So a tenth of what it was. So it's going to be like 500 kilograms. Let's go 0.2. So 1,000 kilograms. And of course, it's not going to update right away. I'm not going to bother to go in and out of the game, but that's basically how you do it. You could also come in here to the garbage container itself. And based on its mass, it has a mass of 60. That's silly. The garbage container itself should be like 500 kilograms. And then it has 5,000 liters of whatever. And so the garbage container, if it's empty, if there's nothing in it, it should have a mass of 500 versus the garbage can, which if it's empty has a mass of 50 kilograms, which is crazy. It's a plastic garbage can. It weighs like 10 kilograms at most. So you can tweak these values and make them unique and make them however you want when you're building the mod, right? And that's part of this kind of tweaking and testing and yada yada. If I come over here and look at this junk loader, this thing is 1,000 liters. It's 1,000 liters, but it weighs 6 tons. This thing, the car, weighs 1.6 tons. This one, 6 tons. This one, 2.5 tons. So those all make sense. The train should be like 36 tons. It's 10 tons. So those all make sense. It was just these that were a little bit off. But we don't have a way to produce that on the map. So that would be the next step in the mod development of this if I was continuing to develop it as an actual mod that people could use. I'm obviously not, because I don't want to use the building from Hobo Rome that looks like a house. But nonetheless, it's proving the point. And that's it. That's how you take a mod from a map into a unique mod. Now, some of those mods you're going to see in maps are going to be really easy. Like there's a much easier one that we could have done, which would be the firewood production that's on Deadwood. We could have made that into a standalone mod, which would be super useful on other maps because you'd have something to do with your logs, which would generate firewood, which makes sense. And then you just have to create the firewood pallet as a pallet. And so instead of creating 6 pallets, it's only 1 pallet. And then you can create it as a mod and release it somewhere else. Yay! And so stuff like that, that's kind of how you do those things. And that's how you would make a mod. And of course, maybe I'll talk to Poor Boy when we do the firewood production as an actual mod that gets released. But I mean, at this point, why do we care? We don't care. We've got 2 months left, and I've got 5 mods in queue waiting to be released, and I don't want to waste any more time modding for FS22. I just want to get the mods that I've already started out and be done with it. But this gives you an idea of how it's going to work. And then we're hoping at a high level that in Farm Sim, no, that didn't work. We're hoping at a high level in FS25 that this process will be pretty much the same. And from what I've heard, there'll be some little tweaks to it, but in general, it's going to work exactly the same. All the stuff we talked about today is still going to apply for FS25. It just might be tweaked a little bit here or there. Some of the values you have to change in a different way or whatever. But that's going to be it for me today. We have created... you can't even see what I'm doing. We have created what we said we're going to create. We took a mod from a map, we pulled it out into a standalone mod, and now it works on its own in another map. Super awesome! Yay! I want to say thank you to everyone for being here. Thank you for watching. That's going to be it for me today. I got to get back to work, and I will catch everyone next time. Bye-bye. Don't forget to download and rate your mods. That's the only way I get any credit for them.